Day 5. Welcome to day 5 of the free 7-day self-love challenge. In this video, we're focusing on living your big dreams. Get ready to dive deep. There might be emotions, there might be releases, there will be homework, and you might be a different person by the end. Yesterday, we opened the doors to the offer. Stay to the end for that again. That offer closes in 2 days so we can get ready for the next round. 2 days. Go through the challenge as many times as you want for free. When you're ready, take the offer to go deeper. Now, let's get into it. Day 5. Welcome to day 5. And today we're going to be talking about self-love, excuses, and impossible dreams.
Oh boy, this is going to be a good one.
Are they?
Ooh, we will explore this in a few moments.
For those of you who don't know us yet,
I'm Heather.
and I'm David.
I'm ZenEdGarden.
.com, helping people create
Badass lives. I'm just going to do a little dance with that. I am happy to have you join us this morning. Want to do a little homework check as you come on. I saw most of you put in, a lot of people did their homework yesterday, which I was really excited about, putting in that Courage or Hero song and posting up the personal hero shrine. If you haven't done that already, I can't wait to see what you're going to post. I'm really loving this group. So one of our coaching friends today posted a meme, or at least I saw it today. And it said, the only impossible dream is the one that is not acted upon. And I went, yes. And I remembered going to see Mano La Mancha, Don Quixote, when I was little with my dad. And he took me to a live play, Mano La Mancha, with the music. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but I posted the song on the timeline. How do you not know Don Quixote?
I know Don Quixote, but I don't know.
Mano La Mancha that's the name of the book. Don Quixote, Mano La Mancha. Okay. So my dad took me to see the play when I was little with the music and everything, The Impossible Dream, which is the big money number. And that stuck with me my entire life. And the really interesting thing about that play is that the guy is clearly off his rocker. He's clearly delusional, but he sees the world with such fresh eyes and such the ability to know that anything is possible. And he brings that possibility to all sorts of people. And the thing that struck me about it, and when I was in college studying for my music degree, I was like 19 or 20, I sang 2 songs from that play, The Impossible Dream and the song Aldonza, which is a solo number from Aldonza, who is his love interest in the play. And she's a prostitute at a bar. And she has such low self-worth and no self-love at all. But he sees her as his princess and his queen and as this beautiful person. And he sees her true self, and she has a really hard time accepting that. She has a hard time with self-loving. But through that kind of crazy outlook that he had, this impossible, he saw the impossible dream for her. Right. And she was able to come back full circle and own her self-love, begin to self-love herself. So this self-love herself. So I chose excuses for today's topic because I think excuses are such a way that we demean ourselves and don't give ourselves enough credit. We're not loving ourselves enough to that we can accomplish our impossible dreams, right?
Excuses are the stories that we tell ourselves that protect ourselves from the dream.
So
but it's all a story.
It's all a story. So Don Quixote did not believe in excuses. He was just like, I'm going to go out there and do whatever it is. Just have that craziness. He didn't have that self-worth. He could have. He was psychotic, right? Delusional. Right. But I want to ask you one question. What is one excuse that you made last year? Just something fresh. You might not come up with it. It might not click right away. No matter how small of an excuse it was. Like, I'll give up pudding next year.
Right. Something that you were protecting yourself from by making up this story, this excuse, that you would go back and change.
Right. Something big, something small. I don't care what it is. Just any kind of an excuse. Think about it and write it in the comments. So,
and when we're asking you to write something in the comments, it's not just for our edification. We don't necessarily need to know everything about your life. It's to challenge yourself to put yourself out there. because the more that you do something, the stronger you get at it. Okay, so putting yourself out there to the public allows you to build a confidence inside of yourself that builds on that doing it. So the more that you do it, the more that you take action and just put it out there, the stronger you become in yourself. It's going to be challenging at first, but that's why it's challenging. I mean, that's why you get to grow from it, because it's challenging and you face that challenge and you overcome it.
So reaching for our dreams in anything that we do shows vulnerability on our part in some way, because we might be over-identifying our self-worth with the dream. So we stop ourselves with excuses, right? And we're always talking about not letting other people get in the way of our dreams. Where I was saying, don't let anybody stop your dreams. Don't let anybody stop your dreams.
Fuck the haters.
Right.
All of those things they're all well and good, because you don't really want anybody squashing your dreams or taking away your dreams. But think about you. You being the biggest obstacle to your dream. And we can put it off on anybody else all the time because it's easier. But how many times do we point the finger back at ourselves and go, you know what? I can stop myself from living my dream, or I can propel myself forward.
So most of the time, in my experience from myself and from seeing other people, is you are blocking your own damn runway, girl. Get out of the way of your inner diva. Just stop it, okay? So today,
and let her go.
Let her go and diva down that runway. Do your own real RuPaul drag show right now. So today we're going to call you out on your excuses. And on mine, I'm going to point the finger back at me and get you back to killing it, to accomplishing your impossible dream. Because like I said, the only impossible dream is the one that is not acted upon.
And the word impossible itself says, I'm possible.
Kim Possible. Remember that? Remember that TV show from the 90s? No. Kim Possible? You don't? Okay. So
I'm aware of the we're not.
Let me look at a couple of the comments that you guys rolled out at us real quick. Let's see.
So
Chelsea says,
I chickened out and didn't sign up for Artist of the Month for our local library. I will be doing it this year. I didn't believe I'd have anything worthwhile hanging and advertising.
Oh, we're going to get to that in a few minutes, girl.
Sweet Jesus, it took forever to find this. Glad you found it. Let your freak flag fly. Yep. Morning, Ashley. So good morning, Ashley. Good morning, Becky, Holly. All y'all people. Y'all awesome people.
All y'all people.
All y'all people. Yep.
Okay, as always, we're going to give you some roadblocks and some solutions to those roadblocks. And then David's going to take you through this meditation, which I can't wait. Maybe Don Quixote will show up. We're going to talk a little bit about more. Who knows? But he's always got something a brewing. So, what are excuses? So we're going to explain what excuses exactly are.
Right.
We went to see Mary Poppins last night. We had a date night, and it was we both cried to Mary Poppins. We're weenie. And I was like, remembering Mary Poppins from growing up and how magical she was, and seeing like the return of Mary Poppins.
Right.
And all the people in the movie were making excuses and just not knowing that they were worthy enough. So it's like, this totally ties into the theme for tomorrow. So it was really great to watch that and see the magic come alive.
So here's the thing with excuses. If you just listen to the excuse itself and you don't ask any pressing questions, you don't ask any why questions, then those excuses continue unchallenged in your life. And then we end up accepting them as a truth, and they continue getting bigger because we're perpetuating that story and not actually looking at it and going, really? Really? That's what you think? That's what you believe?
We're going to show you some reasons, some ways that you can start asking the why around your excuses. But first, there's 5 different types of excuses that we use. And we're going to tell you those in a few minutes. But excuses are reasons, listen carefully, that you make up to make yourself feel better about not taking a chance or doing something risky.
Which is different than risque, even though risque might be risky.
Risque might be risky, but Chelsea, so not throwing your art out there. It's like, what if I'm rejected, right? What if they're like, what if they all laugh at me? You know, what if I'm not good enough? What if there's a million Michelangelos that have submitted their stuff and mine is shit? So those are all the things you tell yourself.
Right.
And we're going to get into those specifics in a minute.
But all of these excuses justify why you're not doing the thing. why you're not taking action on your impossible dreams and starting to make them reality, because they're only impossible right now. As you start chunking away at it, as you start biting away at it and getting a grip, you're going to get that point where you start to see that that impossible dream can actually become real. There's actually, you reach this tipping point where you're like, you know what? When I started this, I had no idea how, I had no idea when it was going to happen. I just knew that I was headed for it. And now I can see it. Now I can see it start to form. I can see it start to become a real thing. And that's what we did with this platform. That's what we've done with this group coaching that we're on right now, and how that's evolving. We had no idea, but we jumped.
We knew what we wanted it to feel like. We
Right.
knew what we wanted to deliver. We knew how we wanted to involve more people and get more people moving forward faster.
And it's
we love
exciting.
that.
It's super exciting for us to see that start to take shape and start to gel and start to become something solid.
So if we don't challenge our excuses constantly, and I mean constantly, not the big ones that are obvious. This is about those subtle things that really, the pea under the bed, right? And the princess and the pea, or the sand in your shoe. Now, this is about those. The big ones are easy to recognize. But if we don't ask the questions and challenge the excuses, they go unchallenged, and we accept them as truth, and they just get bigger and bigger, like David said. So storylines, like Holly says on Zen Ed, I can't even say it this morning.
Zen Ed Academy. Right.
So I'll tell you, not kind of an excuse, but something I've battled with the last 10 years. When I got my Reiki attunements, I gained like 25 pounds. It was just, I call it my Reiki fat. And like, I just got hungrier, and like, I gained a bunch of weight. So I gained a bunch of weight, and I used to be a personal trainer. I know my nutrition. I know how to work out. I'm a workout junkie. No matter what I did, I couldn't take it off. Working out, limiting my calories, doing all this stuff. And I've been kind of working on this for 10 years, and it just keeps going in a cycle. I'm like, damn it, I just can't do it. So I kind of started to think, as other women my age were having the same issues. So they're like, well, it's menopause, your body's changed. You just got to give into it. You're going to be fluffier. You're going to be rounder. I'm like, I'm about muscles and getting shit done, right? So it didn't fit for me. So I heard a lot of those excuses, and even sometimes would hear myself making them for myself, and then I have to keep coming back and asking the why question. Why are you buying this?
Right.
Even if it's true for your hormones are changing or whatever, and your body's metabolizing differently, why are you using that as an excuse?
Right. Why are you buying the storyline and making the excuse to protect you, to prevent that growth?
Right. So after Thanksgiving, I kind of fell into doing keto, and I went, oh, this totally fits how I feel and my energy, and boom, started shedding, pounds of fat, not just this ping pong or cycle.
So traction started happening.
Right, traction started happening. So I know that I say that one because losing weight's a big one that a lot of people deal with. But it's a simple example that can apply to any excuse that you make.
Right. So keep coming back to the storylines and keep challenging your storylines to see if it's an actual thing or if it's just a story you're making up in your mind.
Right. So even when the excuse could be valid, because I could give in an excuse and it's just what happens when your body changes.
Right.
I could easily validate that excuse. But
on the flip side, there's stories of people going through the same things that don't have the same issues and that continue to work out and do what they need to do.
So that's a simple example. I mean, there's many examples of how to get past your excuses, but we're going to give you 5 common types of excuses, and raise your hand, and I will be doing this probably 5 times.
Right.
These have showed up.
But before we get to that, let's touch the comments for a minute.
Okay.
Chelsea says, OMG, I want to see it. I'm presuming she's talking about the Diva Runway. Oh my God, all our Diva bits are about to come out. I love this. Love the look of disappointment, disapproval here. You were hysterical. Yeah.
I don't know what that was
telling myself I need the money. That's a big one, Holly. 100% now, though I don't care if anyone likes whatever I choose to present because I know I love it. That's a great way to be, Chelsea.
The most important thing.
Aaron says, yes, you could fall, but you could also succeed beyond your wildest dreams. Absolutely. Telling myself I need the money. You jump, I jump. Jack. Woot woot. My excuses exhausted themselves. Those truths had to be allowed to die. Fun, the reality came into being, was a new alien feeling. I'm still not sure how to title it. I like it a lot. That is a great place to be, and that's what happens when you start rewriting the stories, is you start coming to a new awareness, even though it feels foreign to you, but it feels better. Okay, so keep challenging those stories and moving forward. By the way, I ate an entire pint of ice cream last night. I resonated with stress, or I reasoned it with stress. Double workout today, F and A. And hey, Nancy, thanks for joining us.
All right. Okay. So let's get into the 5 common types of excuses that all these things can fall into.
And it's great that it's day 5. So 5 excuses, 5
5
days.
for 5, guys.
Yep. So number 1 is focusing on your lack of ability. I'm not good enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not fast enough. I don't know enough. I just can't.
Right.
And here's the thing with that particular excuse is that if you learn and practice anything, you can become a master at it by continuing to learn and practice the thing.
But we're gonna blow these excuses in a minute.
I just wanted to.
He just wants. He's like ready to blast your excuses down. We're gonna give you the bad
I don't
first.
fuck around.
He's like, no, we're going in there.
Yeah.
So focusing on your lack of ability is number 1.
Number 2.
What happened in the past will happen again.
I tried before. Look what happened then.
Already did that. It didn't work. These are, boy, we hear this one a lot.
Yeah.
Raise my hand on 1 and 2. Done both of them.
Yep.
Number 3
is putting yourself down. I don't deserve it. I was just lucky.
Right, and we talked about this in day 2 in
Right.
self-loathing.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't worked hard enough. I'm not as good as others. Chelsea.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Yeah. And this is where we've got the imposter syndrome coming in.
So
Number 4.
Accepting the judgments of other people. Other people know better.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when this excuse shows up in, I should do this. I shouldn't do this. I have to because of the sense of duty. I need to because if I don't, no one else will.
Right.
So this overinflated sense of duty, which we also talked about on self-loathing day, right?
So as we go through these, let us know in the comments which ones you resonate with.
Oh, I've done number 4
1,
in a
2,
big
3,
way.
and 4. Yep.
I did number 4 for 18 years. Okay, so
The shoulda,
or
coulda,
longer.
woulda. Got to make everybody else happy. This is also the people pleaser element.
yes, I need to, I have to.
Yes, and then we get to number 5, and this is assuming failure. There's absolutely no chance that I can make it.
It's not going to happen. I'll never be able to do this because I need the money to do it. I need the time to do it. I need to be skinny to do it. I need to be whatever it is you need to be to do it. You're assuming failure because you don't have that.
Right. And this is, in business especially, this is the shiny thing that we need. We need this next thing and then we'll be famous. We need this next thing and then we'll be successful. We need this next thing and then my videos are going to look great and my audio is going to be amazing if I have all of this right tech. The real thing is just do the damn thing.
You just called yourself out.
I did because I've been there.
David
I've
didn't
totally
do that
been
in
there.
2012.
Or 13, 14, 15, 16, yeah. 20 everything.
Yeah. So those are the 5. You can put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the comments if you want. I'm gonna go through them real quick again. Number 1, focusing on your lack of ability. Put a number 1 in the comments if this is you. Number 2, what happened in the past will happen again.
Yep.
Number 3, putting yourself down.
Yep.
I don't deserve. Number 4, accepting other people's judgments.
Or number 5,
assuming failure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Let us know in the comments.
All of them.
Yep.
Okay. So if you don't have all 5, then God bless you. You should probably teach a class. But but yeah, some people don't struggle with all 5. I think I've had all 5.
I know that I've had all 5. I've had all 5. Yeah. So let's take a look and see what some people are saying. We've got Holly says all. My Wi-Fi is cutting in and out, so I'll watch the replay at home. Yeah, you need better tech, and then you'll eventually have better reception watching the replay. Aaron says everything except for the last one.
Okay.
And Chelsea says, I know, I'm all the dang numbers before they're even listed. Yep.
I love you,
Yep.
Chelsea, so
Yep.
much. Okay.
Becky says all. Chelsea says 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Pretty much all.
I think in some form we've experienced all 5 of those excuses.
So now we're going to get to blowing a hole in those excuses. How can you blow that shit wide open?
And if you guys have ideas of how to blow these open, if
Yeah.
you've been successful, especially if one of these numbers did not apply to you,
Mhm.
please share your insight on
How did you counter it? How did you battle that excuse? How did you overcome that excuse?
Because we're here to help each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the first one is actually focusing on your ability, not your lack of ability.
Well, and here's kind of I want to throw a little side stab. Okay, when you say I can't, which is the number one, focusing on your lack of ability. I can't. Are you really saying I won't?
Mhm.
I'm calling you out.
Yeah.
And myself.
Yeah, so that's the blowing the hole and just kind of like not real, poking the bubble, popping the bubble,
Let's
bursting
pop
the
your
bubble.
bubble, because
Right.
David said, a couple minutes ago, you can learn to do anything. You
Right.
really, really can.
Mhm.
If you want it, go learn it.
Yep. And keep learning it, and keep learning it, and keep learning it.
It's rinse and repeat. Any skill is rinse and repeat.
And then before you know it, you're an expert in that field.
Right.
Then the next one is the what happened in the past will happen again.
So what happened in the past is the past.
Mhm.
Now is not the past. We're always learning and growing, and the past, a similar situation can happen, but it's always in a new way. And you
Right.
have to always strive to see it with new eyes. You're always learning from the past and improving.
And here's the thing with the past. Human beings on this linear timeline cannot go backwards. We can go and we can remember something, but if we're remembering it, we're bringing it into the present moment. We're recreating it in our mind in the present moment. Okay?
And they always say you fail your way to success.
Absolutely.
So, and it's always darkest before the light, and it always gets worse before, so I think it's that perseverance is so important. You got to love yourself enough to persevere towards that goal.
Then we get into the
Putting yourself down.
Yep. And this one is the bad luck excuse.
So for me, I talk about the bad luck excuse a lot. And to me, bad luck is the result of all the choices you have made up into this moment. It's not magic. It's just you want to see it as bad luck, but that's a victim, right? You want to see yourself as being a victim.
And that type of a victim, when somebody is so ingrained in that victim mentality and bad luck and the world happens to me, they're never going to get out of it.
Be the storm. Don't let the storm happen to you.
Right.
So if you're not used to that mentality, it takes a while to shift into, I am the creator of my own luck. My daughter has a shirt that says make your luck, which I love. Make your own luck.
Right.
So your current situation, wherever you are right now, is the result of all the choices that you've made up until this moment.
And once you take responsibility and realize that, okay, my life might be shitty, and I may have put myself there, whether through my storylines, my thought patterns, whatever it is, I may have put myself there. Yeah, a whole bunch of shit might have happened to me, but I continue to perpetuate it. Once you start realizing that you're in control, and yes, you may have created your crappy life, then you realize you get to change it. So that's one of those hard truths that you're like, you know what, I did this. Okay, but if I did this, what else can I do? And that's where you start to make the changes.
So choices are cumulative. You can make a good choice, and it's hard at first because you're making a good choice against the weight of all these bad choices that you made or wrong moves. You make another good choice, and it starts to balance out. One gets lighter, one gets heavier. So you have to keep making those choices that are right for you for a while through faith and trust and in a dark room, because you haven't really started to move that big rock yet.
Right.
But once you flip it around, you've gained a lot of momentum, and it's easier and easier and easier. Right. So it's just that kind of segue between the bad excuses or the bad parts and the good parts. You have to move forward. All right. So
tell them about Mary Poppins.
I did earlier.
On the putting yourself down, the bad luck part?
Well, okay, so
I'm like, you got more there.
Well, Mary Poppins, like I said, the movie last night, everybody was like so wrapped up in the bad luck and all the bad things that had happened, and I won't give the movie away, but she kind of turned that around. Like, well, let's start making different choices. Let's start making, eating our own luck, creating our own magic. But it's not about the past didn't happen. It's about let's make a new choice.
And remembering that the magic is inside of you, and you get to choose whether you want to play or work your entire life to death.
So accepting other people's judgments is the next one we want to blow a hole in.
And to pop this bubble, the question is, are you allowing that nobility of duty keeping you from your dreams? Are you allowing that to protect you from living your dreams?
So sometimes I know I've fallen into this trap that it's the noble thing to stay in this situation. I have to do this because it's my duty. It's my duty to God, to my contract, to my parents, to my family. And it was so wrong for me.
It's wounded, overextended duty.
Killing me.
Yes.
And I think over the years, when I was in these situations, I would see different signs from my guides that I'm not listening to. One of them was a movie called Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which is a martial arts movie. And the two people in this movie really cared and loved for each other, but she had been married to their best friend, who was their person that they ran around with and killed people and did, martial arts things.
Did crouching things.
Did Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon things. Yeah. And they resisted the draw towards each other as, to become a couple and to love each other because they were honoring, and it was their duty to honor their friend who had passed. Who's probably on the other side going, can you guys hook up already? Right. You love each other, get together, you have a history. So it was this sense of duty. And I was just like, how sad. It's just like right there. Another one is The Remains of the Day with Dennis Hopper. No, the other one. The one in Hannibal Lecter.
Dennis Rodman?
No, not Dennis Rodman. Not Dennis Hopper. Anyway, in Silence of the Lambs, what's that actor's name that I can't think of? Anyway, he was in The Remains of the Day, British actor, and the same kind of situation. These two people just out of sense of duty can't get past that to get what they want for themselves, which nobody else cares. Right?
And apparently everybody's having Wi-Fi issues today. Ashley's having the same thing.
What? Okay, well, good thing.
But Ashley, it's a good thing we're also going to see you later today. So.
And thank goodness for replays. So the last one, assuming failure.
So it's an impossible dream, the impossible dream syndrome. Again, the only impossible is the dream that you don't take any action on. Okay? You've got to be a little crazy to face those parts and to just do it.
We call it Forrest Gumption.
Yes. So do your crazy anyway and make it happen.
There's a lot of movies, and I'm referencing a lot of movies and music today for a reason, because our archetypes show up in powerful ways in our movies by the visionaries that create them.
Yep.
So Forrest Gumption is one I like to note a lot. Right. Steve Jobs in any of the movies about him, where you talk, and he's a real life person. Forrest Gump isn't, by the way. These people. I don't know, is it?
I think it might have been based on that.
You're just always assuming that.
No, I actually remember going.
We're going to make David Google to see if Forrest Gump is based on a real person. So.
Not right now.
Anyway, Forrest Gumption, there's an older movie with Peter Sellers called Being There, about, so there are these people who don't think the same as other people, that don't believe they can't. And so they do. Yep. In a big way and accomplish big things because nobody else, all of the really smart people, smart, logical people, are not stepping up and taking the brass ring because of any of these 5 excuses in their life. So these people are a little bit off, a little bit crazy, a little bit visionary.
Like, what are you talking about? It's right here.
Boom. Yeah. And it's there for the taking because all the other smart, logical people are making these 5 excuses.
And they are the ones, because of those smarts, those logic, the mentality that they have, they become a very, 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 very strong proponent to their failure. So you can either take those smarts, and everybody's got them, and just do the damn thing, and find out all the ways it's going to work. Or you can take those smarts and put them all in front of you and give yourself all of these excuses as to why it's not going to work.
So that brings us directly into the whys and the why nots and the what ifs and the what ifs. So again, these kinds of excuses, because we have coaching clients of all walks of life, some that are very successful in their lives, that own big companies, They're worth millions, and we still see making these excuses. So we coached a very powerful woman years ago with owned a big company, and she was struggling with the what ifs. She's like, what if I try this new venture? She was ready to expand her business and scale into a bigger product, and all the what ifs were keeping her captive because she reached the ceiling cap and needed to break that glass ceiling. So the what ifs were coming up. What if I fail? What if I lose everything that I've already created? I think the what ifs can bite you in the ass even stronger if you've already
achieved
reached
a level
a certain
of success.
Because you don't want to lose that level of success. And she was like, what if I do this new venture and everything I created just crumbles?
Yeah.
I'm like, what if you're wildly successful? I think Aaron was saying that
Yeah.
earlier here.
You sure could fail, or you could fly. You could succeed. Either way, it's still scary.
And my friend I know I've talked about before, who started dental school, struggling with starting dental school at 45. And he was like, I'm going to be like almost 50 when I'm out. And, he was changing careers from being a graphic designer, wanted something new, and he didn't know whether or not to do it. And his friend said, you're going to be the same age in 5 years, whether you go to dental school or not.
Yeah.
And you're going to be 5 years in, ready to be done with your current career. Again, pivoting a career is scary at any age, especially when you've already had a successful career.
Right. And that's something that that we've come up against, not big because we've already worked on scraping away these excuses, but it was a big thing for us to pivot into doing what we're doing now. So but it's worth it.
Here's how you get out of that. Instead of focusing on the excuse or the why, why not?
Why not? Right. The why nots and the what ifs.
You want to get into the what if it succeeds. What? So
it's flipping the whys and the why nots into the positive, and the what ifs into the positive. So it's not the what if I fail, it's the what if I succeed.
So the reasons, and not even the what if you succeed. This is going to come into what I want your homework to do tonight. The reasons why you should take action. So often we don't list the reasons why we should take action before we list the excuses of why it won't work. Because if we list the reasons why we should take action, what are going to be the results? We can look at the reasons why not later as challenges and more easily wipe those out. If we create the foundation on the why we shouldn't, we can put all the why we shoulds on top of it, and that foundation's already built with the why we shouldn'ts. So let's flip it around and put the why we shoulds as a strong foundation. Then look at the excuses we're making that come up. Because after you start anything new in your life to accomplish an impossible dream, trust me, those excuses are going to come up. But if you know what they are and you can list them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I got you, and you ask the question, why are you here? You can unravel that excuse and become more confident.
Anthony Hopkins, by the way.
Thank you, Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
See, Dennis Hopper, Anthony Hopkins. For some reason in my brain, I always flip them. They're totally different people.
Yeah. So I will is also a future-based excuse.
Yes.
Okay? It puts it out of the present moment and puts it into I will.
And we think that's us making a commitment, but it really isn't. It might still be a subtle excuse. I've done this one. I will do it. I'm going to do it. I am doing it is the only real action.
Yeah.
No
Even if
it's
I am doing it in the future. Okay? I am is a very, very, very powerful statement. And whatever you have that follows that.
I am doing it and then do it. So just do it, as the Nike slogan says.
Swoop.
Nike, however, Nike, or however you say her name, is the Greek goddess of victory, if you didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is where they named that.
Yeah. So in order to gain any kind of traction in anything, the rubber has to meet the road.
Yeah.
If you're spinning your wheels, you're not going to get anything done.
Right.
It's that simple. All right, so let's see. Aaron says, hey, Heather and David, what if people create statues of you all over the world, of you over all the work you both accomplished in this life? Creating statues, what? I feel like you guys are creating an enormous legacy. Don't panic. I don't know, that'd be pretty cool to have some statues. What are we going to be like?
I want some crazy ass statues. I'm going to be like, And they gotta be fun. I can't be like, I am here with my phone and so magical. I don't want that statue. Yeah. Some crazy ass statue. I don't even know if I want a statue. We're gonna get into the meditation. It's going to be awesome. Get comfortable because this is about your impossible dream. If you, again, have a song, this isn't your homework, it's a fun thing. Mm-hmm. A song like The Impossible Dream or a different version that you like of it, put that in the comments to share so we can have a little running playlist of songs that kind of, it's a power anthem. The Greatest Love of All by Whitney Houston. That's one that just popped into my mind.
Yesterday, we opened the doors to the offer, so stay to the end for that. Doors close on day 7, so grab it if you're ready, or do the challenge again. Well, let's keep going. So let us know what you guys, as you guys come back, let us know what you guys got from that particular experience and the best part of your story.
So, well, quote from Helen Keller popped into my head, life is a great adventure or nothing at all. And I love that because she was deaf, dumb, and blind. Right? She's like, let's do this. If she could do it, we could do it, right? Mm-hmm. So I want you to remember that excuses are how you bullshit yourself. Okay? Mm-hmm. Plain and simple. Excuses are how we bullshit ourselves.
And bullshitting yourself can be extremely subtle.
And
we still do it. In different pieces and parts.
And you got to keep adjusting and refining. So as I would, in that meditation, I kind of listened back in my head to what Erin had said about us being statues and a legacy and all that. And I'm like, oh, and I was kind of going, I'm like, Erin just loves us. She'd probably say all these great things about us no matter what. And I went, that's an excuse.
Right.
I'm like, I'm making an excuse. And I'm dumbing down my potential, whatever it is.
I mean, you guys witness it right here. We're like, statues? What?
Yeah, that's kind of...
Like that's not playing and dreaming.
That's not playing and dreaming and expanding. So I made a little excuse in my head. However subtle, I was starting to bullshit myself. Yeah. Right? It's subtle. But so think about where you're bullshitting yourself.
Yeah. And always keep adjusting, keep refining, keep realigning your truth in your stories.
And this is not the same as like, you're not going to become a narcissistic, egotistical, that just has no self-awareness of
if you're on this call, then you're not the narcissist you might be.
Right. Nancy says Saint Germain is my storyteller. Saint Germain is one of my favorite characters in history because he was a storyteller.
Yes.
In life, when he was alive in France. He would tell stories about, he would create scenarios and just, a trend started after Saint Germain kind of gained a lot of reputation in the French salons during the 1700s. And so you would get these Saint Germain impersonators that would go from French salon to French salon and pretend to be Saint Germain and tell stories as Saint Germain. So, I mean, that's what they did for entertainment. The rich people, they just jumped from salon to salon and snorted snuff and told stories. So
fight those windmills, realize that they're not windmills anymore, and start pursuing your impossible dreams.
There's so many great movies I could quote here about the hero's journey and the people that were given that opportunity to play into the excuse, and some that did and some that didn't. Like one that came to my mind was The Matrix, when the guy decided to eat the steak. He's like, no, I want the life that is an illusion, but at least I'll experience it. So at
least I'll believe it.
Not moving forward with the impossible dream of the group, right? Like he was with a group that was pursuing an impossible dream, which eventually at the end of the Matrix, they accomplished what they were trying to accomplish. You can like let it go, or you can be,
step into it.
Step into it.
So the homework today is to take one of your dreams that you've been making excuses around and leave in the comments 3 reasons why you should do it.
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking about 3 reasons why you should do one of your dreams. And it could be a dream that came up during the meditation, or it could be a dream that you've got in your mind. Whatever it is, that one dream, 3 reasons why you should do it.
So tell us the dream, number 1, and then 3 excuses why.
Why you should.
And then post any songs that resonate with you, or movies.
Right.
Right?
Okay, so thank you guys for spending your time with us. Once again, we know that time is a valuable and precious resource, and the fact that you guys choose to spend that with us is absolutely appreciated. We've got more coming for you tomorrow.
You guys have a great day.
Yesterday, we opened the doors to the offer. Doors close on day 7, so grab it if you're ready or do the challenge again.